Hello, this is a screencast for how to cite website, database, and book sources for ninth grade English projects. You have your Big Six number 2 worksheet you've been working on, so the first thing we're going to cite is going to be something from the website section. You had 2 websites for question 4A and 1 in question 4B. So the first website that you want to cite that you know for sure you're going to pull information from, please copy paste that web address into a tab so that it's ready to be worked with. The next thing you need to do is to open up Noodletools. You can do that by clicking on the link through the portal, or you can just go to noodletools.com. If you do it through the portal, it'll take you straight in. Doing it through noodletools.com, you'll click on the gray login button and then click on the sign in with Google icon. Once it gets you set up with your account or renews your account, you are in the projects page. If you use Noodletools at the middle school level, you'll want to come down to the lower left-hand corner where you see your initials and click on that and make sure that you change it to being a Capital High School student now. If you're just beginning Noodletools, it's prompted you to select Capital High School as you're setting up this account. So you're in the projects page, and we're going to be starting a new project, putting in the subject you've been doing your research on, and then citation style will stay MLA, citation level goes to advanced. So now my project is in at the top. I need to open my project and tell it I want to cite a new source. Like I said, we're going to do a website first. And then you have to look at what you're getting from the web actually to know if one of these other options would be appropriate. I'm going to be doing a simple web page, one single page from a website, which looks something like this. You're on one page within the larger website. If you have a paper that you've downloaded, that could be something different. If you found a journal article that's been downloaded, that will be something different. For example, the paper would be a report, research or technical. A journal article could be down here. So if you have a question of what you're actually looking at, feel free to stop by and we can help you select the correct one. Probably 80% to 89% of the time, you can select web page. You're looking at one page from a website and it'll give you enough of the correct citation information. It wants the web address first. It wants the date of publication. Usually that's at the top. For me, I know it's also 2021 based on citations that are at the end of the source, that they just wrote this article or retrieved all this information at this point. If you don't have a date of publication, you can leave it blank, but you do want to look high and low. So look at the beginning of the article and then look at the end of the article before any comments, before any advertisement. Then it's asking you, when are you pulling the information? We're going to click the word today because we will do a note card from this today. Next is looking for information about any authors. Again, you look high and you look low, so at the end of the article or at the top of the article. Mine does not have an author, so I will be leaving these boxes blank. Please only use real names in here. Don't put a group name in yet, but when you put the real names in, make sure you do change this drop down to author if you have them. Then it's looking for the title of the page. You can see that here. This is the title of this article or of this specific page. We're not going to worry about this little suggestion since it's coming straight from the page itself, we're going to copy it just as they have done it online. Don't worry about the English translation box. Name of the website's next. Can't copy usually from the header that has it. That's just a hyperlinked icon, but you can check down in the copyright information, find that copyright symbol, and usually you can copy from there. This is also where you would check to see if there's a publisher. So if you actually see a different name here compared to what you saw at the top or what you can see in the first part of the web address, that's going to be your publisher. There is not something different here, so I'm putting in the name and my publisher box is going to be blank. For example, if you go to a Wikipedia page, we know the name of the website's Wikipedia, but when you get down to that copyright information, it actually says Wikimedia. So Wikimedia is a larger organization that owns and distributes Wikipedia. Now, if you had another group name that you have not yet used as the name of the website or the publisher that you thought maybe you wanted to give credit to up here where it says last name or group, if you have not used that, then you could come back and put a group name up here as the author or contributor. But I would never put University of Kansas in this box and then also put it in as the name of the website and also put it in as the publisher. You don't duplicate things. Once you use one piece of information, you're done. You can't use that again in the citation. We're not going to worry about contributors the whole. We're not worried about edition, version, revision. Annotation will be covered at the end of this video. So at this point, I'm going to hit save. I have my first citation done. Now, I'm ready to do a note card. Clicking on new, and I will copy paste a piece of information that I think is helpful for showing my problem and solution to the problem, possible solutions to the problem. So here's a chunk of text that I want to copy and paste over into my note card. Once I have done that, I need to add my quotation marks. And I'm actually putting my cursor, notice, in front of the period. And I'm going to do a shift, or a space, a shift 9 to get my first parentheses. And I'm going to come up here, and this tells me what I'm going to put in my parenthetical or in-text citation. I have to use whatever shows up first. I didn't have an author, remember, so I'd have the title of the article. I can't copy from there, unfortunately. How Teaching with Technology. I could do the whole title, but you are allowed to cut titles down, or it's also called truncate, to cut down the title when it's long. This one's kind of a half and half. It's kind of long, it's kind of not. I'm going to cut it just for the demonstration purposes of cutting it. And then, oops, not my quote, but my shift 0 to show the end of my in-text citation. And now my period is in the correct place. So the in-text citation becomes part of the sentence and period goes on the very outside after the parentheses. So this is the way to format this section. Add your quotation marks, add your in-text citation, period on the outside. Now that I have this piece done, I can go up here and give this note card a title based on what it's about. My next step is to come over and paraphrase this. So read this quotation as many times as you need to, and then come put your summary in this box, or your paraphrase. Again, your paraphrase is your words, still their idea, but your own words. Yes, you may use a couple phrases, so I may use the phrase self-generated content again, but it should not be just changing a couple words. Here is my paraphrase of this. Once I'm done with my paraphrase, I do still need to go copy this in-text citation after my paraphrase. So the words are mine, but the idea is still coming from the source. So I have to give credit to the source at the end of paraphrases too, not just quotations. Now I'm ready to put in my own ideas, or why did I have this pop up in my head as being important? What was it helping me prove about a solution to the problem? You may start it with something like, this proves that, oops, this is important because. So here is my idea for this note card. Note cards do automatically save, but you can hit save and close when you are done. And now I can see that I have one note card here underneath the source, and it's showing up right here because I had clicked in this area. So I can see it right here. Okay, the next thing we cited was something from a database. Back on Big Six number 2, I had asked you to get a MLA citation for an article from a database. The directions on how to get to that database and do the search are above up here if you don't have this box yet. First thing you need to do is get the article open again. The easiest way to do that is to copy the web address from the article and just plug that up into an address bar. You may need to log back into your public library MyTRL account to get back to it, putting in OSD in your username, and then your PIN number was your birthday month and day of the month. Again, that is explained on Big Six number 2. If you forgot how to get back in and you use the public library MyTRL information, if it's asking for that, you put this type of information in. So, because we're already logged into Noodletools, this gets super easy. You get to click on Cite, which is where we got that citation, and put it into Big Six number 2. But now you can just export it to Noodletools. So it says you want to put this citation into this project. Yep, I do. So go ahead and import that for me, please. It's done. I have 2 Noodletools tabs open right now, but this one really doesn't go to the work I was working on. So I can close this, come back to this one, and if I hit refresh, now this new one has shown up. Notice that the citations are alphabetized, so this one came underneath for me. Yours may show up above. It just depends on what the first letter is of each citation. When I'm ready to do note cards from this source, again, I click New Note Card, and I'll go through the same process I did on this one. You need your direct quotation, a paraphrase of that quotation, and your my ideas around that quotation. The last thing we'll be citing would be a book source for demonstration purposes. You need to have 3 different types of sources. So it could be that you have an interview, or you have a YouTube video that is an interview. There could be lots of different types of sources still, but 3 different types of sources are required. You may be looking at a journal article that's on the web. We will count the journal article or newspaper or magazine article as a separate type of source. It's not the same as just a regular old web page. So I'm ready to do one more new source. Like I said, I'm going to do the book source just because I want people to see that one. And for books that are, you have it in your hand. If you actually are looking at an ebook, there's a way to do that over here. Printer in hand. What am I holding in my hand? I said I was going to do the book, but notice you could have all these other things, right? I mean, you could still have a journal in your hand or a magazine in your hand. Doing the book. And then on your Big Six number 2, I'm going to come back up and remind you that if your book was coming from our library, I asked you to get the ISBN number. So you could copy that number if you have it here, or if you're doing one through Amazon that you could see inside of, and do that as well. Or you can just look on the back of your book, is where the ISBN number would also be located. And so get that number in there. You don't have to have the dashes if you're manually typing it in, like I am right now. And then hit the search. Hopefully it will find your book for you. You can click on it one time and hit import selected source. And it just says, are you sure this is the one? Review each field carefully here. Do you have everything filled in that's supposed to be filled in? So basically, you need the title, you need the publisher, you need the city, you need the year. If there are authors, you need authors. Hit continue, and it will fill in all the boxes for you down below in here, right? Which is nice. Now I can just hit save, and now my book source is cited. Again, it's alphabetical, so this one happened to go in between my first one and my second one. And I'd be ready to do more note cards there. The last thing we're going to be doing is adding an annotation to one of these sources. So when I'm ready to do the annotation, I'm going to pick whichever one I want to do my annotation for, and I'll try it with my website today. So I'm going to need to edit this citation. So I'm clicking on the three buttons on the very right hand side and click edit. And it gets me back to these boxes that we were filling in originally. I'm going to come down to this annotation box and I'll be typing my annotation in here. What do I put in here? Well, I'm going to open up the Capital High School library page. And underneath research resources, take that back. Let me go back on one. I think I skipped over one. Underneath, here it is, citations and annotations. Don't know why I wasn't seeing that this morning. Underneath citations and annotations, we have annotations how to. And so this is what we use right now with freshmen as a step up to what you'll start next year in social studies, preparing you for IB level annotations. You're going to be typing a small sentence or a small paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences in length, written in third person, answering these questions. So, say this is a website, the author's purpose. By students. Here's a little summary sentence of the type of source, the author's purpose, and a little bit of summary there. That would do these 3 bullets all at one time. Oh, I did forget the target audience. Let me get that in there. Target audience. This is the website that has purpose to present ideas to. I feel like this article was written to other teachers, not to the general public, but a lot of websites will be to the general public. The next piece, after you get those 4 things in there, is the credibility. How do you know you can trust the information? So remember, that's why we did the Google Advanced Search for .edu, and this is coming from a college level source. It happens to be the School of Education, so they should be knowledgeable on these ideas. So I need to say something like that in my annotation on Noodletools. So I've added this, which is the credibility statement. The article cites 10 different sources and is representing the School of Education at the University of Kansas. Thus, it should be trustworthy, period. So that's as simple as the annotation can be right now. Trust me, next year, when you get into the IB level stuff, start working on it in social studies, these will get longer. but that is an annotation, so I can now hit save, and that annotation will show up underneath the citation you're annotating. The two last things we need to do. We need to have you share this project with the correct Dropbox. To do that, we need to come back out to the projects page itself. And if you hover underneath the sharing word and next to the project and click the plus sign and click the plus share button, you'd start typing your teacher's last name in here. Now I create these drop boxes, so I don't get the drop downs, but you will see drop downs for your teacher and your period. Make sure you click on the correct period, and then you're done. The last thing that we need you to do is know how to print. So you need to open your project, and when you're ready to print, everything's done, you've done the annotations, you have all your note cards done, you're ready to get the final version of this. And most likely what your teacher is going to ask you to do is take the final version of this and copy paste it over to the end of your paper on a last page of your paper. If you export to Google, it's going to send it out to a Google Doc on your own Google account, perfectly formatted for turning in like this. However, like I said, your teacher will probably ask you to make this the last page of your paper, so you can change the numbering or not copy the numbering and just highlight and copy the entire thing and then put this in as your last page so it all comes together as one package to your paper. Or you could do the opposite and then go copy paste your paper in front of this, and that would give you the page numbering going on if you hadn't yet done the page numbering. Ask your teacher whether or not they want a title page. That's important, and how they want the heading to be. So if they don't want a title page, then there's a heading format for MLA format. Hopefully they will go over that with you. If you have any questions about anything that we went over today, I'm happy to work with you individually. Library opens at 8:15, close up shop at 4 o'clock every day. Thank you. Have a good day.